Welcome to our new podcast, Knitty Knotty. And I'm Knotty.
And
And
I'm Knitty.
um, so I'm the Knotted Bag on Instagram. My name is Diane Lantier. And Vanessa.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Rose, and I'm Knitty Witch on Ravelry and Instagram.
Yeah, so we're Knitty and Knotty.
Yeah,
And on Ravelry, I am Freedom for You. What's your Ravelry
it's Knitty Witch, also on Ravelry.
on? Oh, did you already say that? Sorry, I
Yeah,
missed that.
that's okay. I just changed it. I just changed it over from Vintage Rose to Knitty Witch, so
Okay.
it's new.
Okay. And I have like different aliases in all the
I
different
know.
I just started a different Instagram account. So Instagram has changed a lot over the years. And back when I was doing my bags, like what was it when we were going to the festivals and stuff? It was like 2014, 15, right?
Yeah.
15, 16, I think. Um, and I had an Instagram account for the knotted bag, and then I also do energy work, so I have that whole thing. And then I kind of stopped doing the bags, and I shifted more into the energy work. So I started doing that on my Instagram account, and then it changed so much I can't keep track. I feel like I'm so old because I don't get the Instagram. I don't know how to use it. So anyway, so now I have a separate account for the energy work, but I find I don't go on there very much. I use Facebook more for that. So yeah, it gets like a bit much with all of the different profiles and accounts and everything. But
Yeah, I know. I had to minimize mine too. I had too many, so now I just have Knitty Witch, and I don't have any other ones.
yeah, and I like that name. So
So do I. Thank you.
all right. So we decided to do a podcast because I think Vanessa and I both kind of you stopped knitting for a while, right? You
I
kind of
did. I stopped knitting for about 2 years.
Yeah, and I don't know that I stopped knitting, but I certainly was a lot less active with it. I probably did a bit more spinning, and I was just busy with other stuff and stopped doing my bags. What happened is I lost a job in the fall of 2014, and then I just changed a lot of stuff in my life, and so I was busy doing other things, like kind of found myself again, found my groove back, and my son was getting older. I got out of like that, mom funk of when they're little, and I
Hmm.
just kind of reinvented myself or found myself again, and got another job. And then eventually, like with the bags, I just started wanting to do them again, and so I did with no pressure. I just do it for fun now.
See,
Before
I
I
have a similar story too, because when I lost my job too, when I was retired out of the military in 2017, it was very unexpected. I got retired medically. And also around that same time, and my husband at the time and me split. And I kind of like lost my groove and my mojo. I had a lot of stuff going on in my life. And
Mhm.
then as I started to get my life back together, I went to school to become a hairdresser.
Yeah,
And I started to slowly knit again while towards the end of my school. And then once I graduated, I just hit knitting full force back
yeah,
again. And I found that I loved it just as much as I did when I put it down.
yeah,
And that's where the whole reinvented came. The Vintage Rose is kind of on like a hold and a standby because I'm in the process of like getting ready to move and different things are going on, and I just don't have it like set up to do it. But
yeah,
I wanted to rebrand myself as not a business but as a person, and that's why I chose Knitty Witch, because I'm a witch and I'm knitty, and I felt that that kind of described me more than described what I do. So
yeah, and I'm looking forward. I'm no pressure, but I'm looking forward to you doing them again because legit the best stitch markers I've ever used.
oh.
Still use them, and I think about you when I knit with them. I'm looking over at my table where I have a bunch, and they're like I just adore them. They're the best. So
Well,
anyway,
once I get set up to do it, I'll be able to ship them out and stuff once I get my house situation all down.
and then you and I talked about going to Maryland in the spring, and we were all excited to go because you currently live not far from there. And then I found out that I needed new brakes. So that kind of like put a damper on my trip to the yarn fair. I figured brakes were more important. Plus, they told me I couldn't drive that far with the brakes I had.
Yep.
So we ended up going to Rhinebeck, which was super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Catskills. I got almost lost and my GPS prepped out. But anyway.
I did get lost on the way home. I got lost an hour and a half out of the way.
Oh no.
My GPS wouldn't work. My phone needed to be reset the whole time, which was the only problem. And I didn't figure that out until like an hour and a half going out of my way. Then I was like, let me reset my phone. And then it started working again.
Because at Rhinebeck, the service is not good.
Mm-mm.
So we stopped a lady in the parking lot and she looked up her GPS and gave me basic instructions to get the highway. And then I was like, once I was on the highway, it was good. My GPS picked up again. But
Mm-hmm.
so you currently live, where do you live now? And just so people know the reason.
I live in Delaware, which is a state. Most people don't know where Delaware is, but it's basically attached to Maryland. It's on like the little L that's part of Maryland.
Right.
It's the northeast coast.
Okay, and I'm in Ottawa, Canada. So Ottawa is a city in the province of Ontario. So it's Canada's capital. So I'm we're in completely different places, which is why we're doing this remotely. But we just, we found ourselves talking about our knitting again, and I thought, why don't we just podcast this? Which is most people start their podcast.
Well, we're basically podcasting without recording, so
exactly. So let's just record it.
So here we go.
All right. So let's talk about things that we've finished. And
okay, I forgot to grab my sweater.
Go get it?
Yeah, I can go get it.
Yeah, go get it.
We'll pause.
I can
pause.
Okay.
Talk about being prepared. So for Rhinebeck, I actually started a sweater. I finished a sweater, almost finished a sweater. It was the Mazzy cardigan. I can't remember the designer. I'll throw it up on the screen. If I can get editing to work for me the way I want, I would like to throw it up on the screen. Yeah. But it requires...
start a Ravelry group, right? So we can put our details in there.
Yeah, so we'll start a Ravelry group and put the details of it in there. But I knit the whole entire sweater, and then when it came to seaming and doing all the finishing, I kind of like was so full force into knitting that I just wanted to knit and I didn't want to sew. So I picked up a second sweater. I don't know how many people do that, but I picked up a second sweater and I love the construction of the sweater. It's a raglan seamless top down, super simple, and it was a mindless knit, and it was just really, really enjoyable. So this is, I don't even know if you can really see, but this is my cardigan from, what did I knit? What pattern is this?
You could probably stand up and put it on. I'm not set up. I can't stand up, but you probably could with your...
You're right. I probably could.
So like super long, so like there's no way.
This is very similar to the Hey Girl cardigan that I knit for Rhinebeck a few years ago, and I'm still trying to remember the pattern of this. Oh, it's called Memories sweater. So this is the Memories sweater.
Okay.
From I think it's Little Acorn, or the Velvet Acorn. There we go. Talk about not being prepared. But the Velvet Acorn. And then it is a kind of like a boyfriend cardigan.
It's so pretty and it's so nice, and you knit it so well. It looks like it's store-bought, like legit.
One thing I love is these buttons that I got from Rhinebeck. Do you see that?
So can you tell the story of the buttons? Because that was really cool.
All right. So the story with the buttons is this was Rhinebeck like 2015, maybe 2014, and there was a vendor that was selling just pewter buttons, and the buttons were so pretty, so I bought a bunch of buttons, threw them in a drawer, and completely forgot about them for the next few years. I'm like, my chairs. Forgot about them for the next few years. So when I finished the sweater and it came down to needing buttons for the sweater, I remembered that I had buttons in the drawer, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to have enough buttons to put on the sweater. It required 9 buttons, I think was the total. Yep, 9 buttons. So I went in the drawer and I had exactly 9 buttons. They came in packs of 3s or 6s. So I had bought 6 of them and then an extra 3 just in case. So I set myself up for success by buying extra. And they just ended up being the perfect button for this cardigan. So it ended up being that I didn't have to go to Rhinebeck button list like I usually do. Most times I finish my sweater, it's not finished because it doesn't have buttons on it. But this time I actually completed this whole entire sweater.
Or that time when you were knitting on the toilet in the middle of the night.
Oh my God, that was so funny. That was Rhinebeck. I don't even remember what year that was, but that was 4 o'clock in the morning. I stayed up.
It was 2013. Because
2013.
I didn't go because I had lost my job right before it. But I remember we were cutting off like
the ends
in the car.
In the car, yep. We parked at Rhinebeck. Literally, when we parked, they were like, "Okay, are you ready?" And I was like, "Wait!" And I had to clip like one more end, and then I was ready. And then it was funny because there was like little pieces of cut yarn from like where I had done woven in the ends, like all over the back of the car, and also when we stepped out of Rhinebeck, like some of them got on the floor.
Yeah, we were finding them later in the day.
Yeah, we would find them. So that was fun.
Did you have anything else you wanted to show off?
Not right now. This is really my most finished object, my most recent finished object. So what do you have?
Next time you should show your hat that you wore at Rhinebeck.
Oh, I will.
Okay. So my prized possession right now, not pretty, is the cardigan that I did. So I don't really usually, I mean, it's not like I've gone to Rhinebeck that much, but I feel like I don't really get caught up in the Rhinebeck sweater thing. But this year when we decided to go, I was like, I must knit something for Rhinebeck. I just had it in my head, and I became like a maniac. And so I made this cardigan. It's called, it's called gelato, like the food.
The dessert.
Yeah, the dessert. Dang, I don't have the name of the person, but we'll throw that up anyway. Gelato, and it's all hand spun yarn. Well, on my wheel. I don't know. When you spin on your wheel, is it still hand spun? Like
yes, it's still hand spun.
My son wants to spin. He said, "Mommy, we should buy some yarn so that I can, like, he meant the fiber, so he can spin with his fingers." And I thought, well, I can show you on a spindle. And
yeah,
he wants to do it with, I don't know what he's planning, but anyway. So I had there was a company in the UK called Nunoko who sold fiber on Etsy. They have they don't exist anymore, but one half of Nunoko now has her own shop, and they did these really beautiful sets. I have some more of their stuff, and really good price, I find, for their fiber. And these just gorgeous sets of like 10 grams each. So they would have like 100 grams with 10 different colors, let's say, of 10 each. And so years ago, I contacted them, and I was obsessed with finding like sunsets. I was looking for sunset yarn, sunset colored fiber, something. And so basically I asked them to create a pack for me that had 15, because I like big hanks of yarn. I like to spin. I want to make something, a big shawl or whatever. I don't like little, I'm not a big fan.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I don't like little necklets, whatever you call them, shawlettes or whatever. I want like full.
Yeah, me too. So I usually, when I get fiber, I usually get 8 ounces minimum. So that I can spin a full, like 2 plies or 4 ounces each, right? So you get a lot of yardage. So anyway, I wanted 150 grams. I wanted 15 different colors. So we worked together to come up with a gradient that was 15 different colors, and then they made 2 of those. So in the end, I think it was 1,777 yards of this big, beautiful hank of yarn. And then it was, well, what am I going to knit with it? Because I don't know how other people are, but with my hand spun, first of all, it's the most delicious thing to knit your own hand spun. but also, especially with a gradient, I want to use every single inch of it. I don't want to ruin the gradient. I don't want to, so I found this pattern because you knit it from the neck down, and it's, I don't know what you call these raglan sleeves, but it's, you kind of knit across, and then you put stitches aside to do the sleeves later, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to knit. I'm not going to be able to show. I'm going to show the picture on my Instagram in the camera. It'll be easier.
Okay.
But it's basically this really nice long cardigan.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, I love it. I was able to use the entire gradient with it. And then for the edge and the sleeves, I had this other hand spun in my stash. I've had it for, I don't know, 3-4 years, just sitting there. And sometimes I have my hand spun and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? And this turned out to be perfect because it's like this sky blue. And this was, if I remember correctly, I think I combined a sort of whitish art bat that I bought from a lady who's local to me with some bumps by Hobbledehoy.
I love Hobbledehoy.
I know, she's my favorite. You know how you go to Jenny the Potter, like wherever you go, the first thing? When I went to Maryland, my first thing is I'm going to Hobbledehoy.
She's on my list. She gets like second. Jenny the Potter is the tough one because of those cups that she does that are so limited. But after Jenny.
Show your cup today. Did you bring it upstairs?
I didn't bring it up. I'll have to show my cup next time.
Next week. Anyway, so I'm just going to show my Instagram picture because hopefully it shows better what it is.
And if it works, I might be able to throw that picture up on the screen too. Wouldn't that be great? Like,
there you go.
It's so pretty.
I tend to do cardigans that don't have buttons because I don't feel like doing the buttons. But then I'm stuck with these cardigans that don't close. And so the thing with this one, I love it. It's super warm, super soft. I get compliments all the time. It really is like a piece of art. But I think I made it too big. I've been losing weight and I'm not really sure what's up. You know what I mean? And then you think, like, I feel like I've made sweaters before that should have fit, but then they were a little tight. And they actually fit better now that I'm losing weight. So I decided, I think, to err on the side of a bit larger. And so the collar, but you saw me, it looks okay. Yeah. I'm wearing it. It's just a little bit bigger than I think. It would have been probably better a bit smaller. I did see a lot of comments on the pattern by other people who knitted it that the armpits aren't in a great place. And I think that's just the way it's knitted. You start knitting the arms a little bit low. So when you're wearing it, so I don't know if that's a product of the pattern or because I made it a little bit big. So I don't know. But anyway, either way, I still wear it and I love it. And that's like my prized possession. The only other thing I wanted to show in my done things is because it kind of touches one of my works in progress is this cowl, which I love.
Look at it. It's so pretty.
I know. I love it. Do you remember Alaska Nancy?
Yes.
Name? So basically, I took 3 different fingering weight yarns. Yeah. Oh, I love this.
Does she still dye?
I think so. I'm not sure. But again, a lot of the stuff that I just finished this recently and I had it on the needles for like 3 years. This is one of the things that had been sitting around for a long time. And so I cast on around 100 stitches. And by the way, if I'm looking sideways on the screen, it's because I keep looking at you instead of my camera.
I keep looking at you too. I don't know what it looks like when I'm looking, but I'm staring at you.
It looks fine to me. So anyway, so I cast on about 100 stitches and just knit in the round. And I started off, I basically did like these sections. I have 2 self-striping, and these 2 are the Alaskan Nancy ones.
I can tell.
And then this one is, I forget who she is. She makes beautiful, crap. I'll try to remember the name of the dyer of this one. She still dyes, and I just saw her on Instagram recently. She does like names with the Muppets and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, so I did like these little sections, and then I made the sections bigger and bigger as I went along.
I see.
Yeah. And then I didn't know if I want to leave it open, but I decided to join it, and I did a really crappy job of the join because I did a Kitchener stitch. But you know when you're like self-criticizing and nobody else is going to see it, right? So
Yeah, I know. When I first started knitting, I would pull back rows so that every stitch was perfect because I needed it to be perfect. And now I'm just like, nope, keep going.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. So just in case anybody wants to do this, honestly, it's super easy. It's mindless knitting. You can take it anywhere. And I don't even know what size needle I used. It was just, it's
Doesn't really matter what size needle you use.
no, it really, it's more about the kind of fabric that you want. I probably did like a 3.5 millimeter. I'm going to use Canadian terms because I don't know the numbers, but 3.5 millimeters. Like a sock yarn, I would do 2.25 millimeters. So this
3.5 millimeters. That's a size 3, I think.
I'm not sure.
3.5, either that or it's a 4.
It's probably smaller than what you would use for a shawl.
Right.
Because the fabric's a little tighter. When you're doing a shawl with fingering weight yarn, you go like a little bit bigger so that your shawl is more, just like my cardigan. Anyway, so this is my other lovely, I like it. Easy.
It's so cozy.
Yeah. All right, so that's our stuff that we're done.
That's our finished objects. Yep.
You working on now?
Costume change. I did my costume change here. So what am I working on now? All right. So I have a few projects that I'm working on.
Yeah, we're not going to show all our works in progress, right? Because I probably have like a dozen. I'm not going to show them all.
Yeah, like I love how, I don't know if the Knit More girls, I don't know if they started the term or where it came from, but Area 51, where all my UFOs live, is like a huge basket right now that I'm not touching. So my UFOs are living in Area 51 in the corner of my living room. But the ones that my most recent ones are here with me. So my purse knitting lives in this little cute bag from Star Knits, which is funny because I'm going to mention Star Knits a bunch because almost every bag that I have is from her right now.
Oh, cool.
And it's Knitty in Color.
Oh, I'm like obsessed with Knitty in Color, and she has like a Christmas one coming up.
Yep. So she is Knitty in Color, and this is her. These are my Halloween socks that I'm still. So this is sock number 1.
It's so pretty.
And the colorway is Walking with a Ghost.
Is that what you were knitting on at Rhinebeck?
Yes. Okay. I'm still knitting these socks. So this is sock number 1, and this one actually striped. She doesn't do self-striping, but this one actually striped a little bit. So I am at about to mark for the heel because I do afterthought heels, and I do my afterthought heels by cutting out. I do it with no waste yarn. So I cut out the hole and it's scary to cut your knitting, but I cut out the hole for the heel to go through. And the tutorial that I learned that from is none other than our Curvy Worvy Cherie, who has a tutorial on YouTube on how to do this afterthought heel without waste yarn. Cherie. I know. We love you, Cherie. And it's the best because when you do an afterthought heel with the waste yarn, you get these huge gaps on the sides that are really hard to sew the holes back down. So when you do it by cutting out the yarn, you don't have those holes.
In the corner, right? In the corners, I find you have to really go pick up some stitches there in order to avoid those holes. Right,
and so you won't have that with cutting the heel out. So those are my
So
Halloween socks, which is actually funny because I started these in 2015. We are going way back with all these. I started this in 2015 and I didn't finish. This is when I about kind of started to taper off with my knitting. Well, when I went back to knitting, my gauge changed and I use 9-inch circulars. So what I was using at first was size 2 9-inch circulars. With my gauge changing, I had to go all the way down to a size 0 to get 8 stitches per inch. So I couldn't get my gauge to match, even going down the needle size. I couldn't get the fabric to match. So I had to unknit, frog the entire sock that I had knitted and start over from the beginning.
Right.
So these socks are taking me forever. So we'll alternate. So
do you have a specific pattern you use for your socks, or you just like knit a tube?
No, I do my socks toe up, and what I usually do is I do the measurements for the heel. Like I calculate how many stitches around the ball of your foot is and how long it is. And then I kind of just do like a little formula where I subtract a certain percentage so that to allow for the stretch.
Right.
But it's no pattern. I could write a pattern, but it's just a basic toe up sock. I don't know. I just kind of made it up.
My my sock of choice, I was looking to see beside me if I could find one, because I have one that's partially knit as well. Is Wendy Knits toe up socks with a difference?
So that's the same formula I think that I follow.
But hers is not an afterthought heel though.
No, I put in the afterthought heel because the afterthought heel came from how much self-striping yarn that I knit with. So when I first started, I started doing short row heels, and those are good, but they're a little complex and not as neat as an afterthought heel. So the afterthought heel came from trying to get my stripes to match on my socks.
And for me, I don't care about the matching or not. So I'd rather, and I find that with the afterthought heel, it doesn't fit my foot well. Whereas the Wendy Knits pattern, the way her pattern fits my foot so perfectly that I'm okay with like the stripes being off in the crook of the, of the foot, like, because it's basically where your foot bends. Not the back of the ankle, but where your foot is bent. That's where the difference is, right? I did a pair of socks for somebody recently, and I didn't even, if I had tried, I wouldn't have worked, but they ended up matching perfectly. Even though I did the heel the way she does it, and it screws up the stripes, it literally was like matched up perfectly. And had I tried to do that, it wouldn't have worked, because I never know where I started my cast on, right? But,
yeah. That's awesome. So
what
I was going to say, do you want to show something you're working on? Because I've got like 4 projects, so we could go back and forth.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So one of the things that I'm working on is similar to that tubular cowl that I was showing. I'm working on this. Oh, I just wanted to show you. So again, on Instagram, I saw this Knitty in Color. It's probably going to be hard to show you. On her Instagram, she has this yarn I think she has an update tonight.
I think that I actually own that yarn.
It's called Goth Christmas.
Yes, I own it.
It's amazing.
From a few years ago. And that's actually what I was going to knit for Christmas. If I can finish these Halloween socks, then I'll be able to knit those for Christmas.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the other lady. Anyway, so this is going to be everybody thinks it's a sock when I'm out knitting, and everybody's like, are you making it? Well, this would be a really big sock. But anyway, I had somebody asking me once what was I sewing? Not really sewing, but anyway. So I started with just like a sort of regular creamy yarn at the bottom. I just did a ribbing. Again, I cast on 100 stitches. So I did a ribbed edge because this won't be a cowl, it'll be a scarf. But I don't want a purl, so I'm just doing a tube. And this is I did keep the band because I just wound. Of course, I can't find it now. Oh, here it is. This is from years ago. I bought this many moons ago, and it's. Oh, I should show you the right part. Fab
Funky Fibers.
Fibers. So I think she's still dying, and she makes. I think it's a she. Does these really beautiful self-striping yarns, and this one is called the Doctor's Scarf.
I was going to say that looked like a time traveler's pattern from Doctor Who.
So years ago, like I love Doctor Who, and years ago, my husband was saying that he would love that big long scarf. I am not knitting that. I don't feel like searching for the worsted wool for that, and I don't want to knit like forever on that. And so I bought two. So these yarns were like in twos, you know, like when they split it so you can do the like two socks. I don't know how to say that. And so I bought two of those. So I have 4 little skeins. So I guess I got 200 grams, 8 ounces. And originally I was going to weave it. So this yarn that I used for this is what I used. I don't remember the terms for the weaving, but that's what I used to set up my loom. I have a 24-inch loom. And then I was going to weave the stripes and do my scarf that way. But I haven't woven in a long time. And so then I just decided recently, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to take that yarn out of the loom and just knit this as long as it takes me. And I think I'm going to have good length because I still have this much left. And I've already knitted this much, and I have 3 more of these balls.
Oh, yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, so that's going to be for, well, hopefully he wants it. If not, I'll wear it. But anyway, it's probably not like, because I've been doing it on 100 stitches, I don't know if it really represents the scarf and the rows and stuff like that. I don't really care. The colors are cool. And
I like it.
Yeah, and it's so easy. Like, this is my traveling on the go knitting. I can take it anywhere and knit anywhere. It's just circles, so rounds. So that's one of my projects. That's one of the ones that I'm working on the most because I take it everywhere.
That's how I am with the socks. That's why everyone's like, "Are you done with those?" Well, they basically live in my purse, so I mean, I knit on them when I knit on them, which is why it's taking me so long. But the second thing that I've been obsessed with knitting lives in my other Star Knits bag, which is,
I love that fabric.
I know, it's what do you call these? Like vintage skeletons. This is the Fading Point shawl from Hohi Locatelli. And I'm in the middle of a row, so I can't even like show it, but
it's pretty.
It's a gradient. It goes from darkest to lightest, which in hindsight, looking back, the pink color, which this is looking like really, it's like got different shades of pink in it. The pink color looked like it was the darker color, but now that I'm knitting with the variegated, it almost seems like the variegated is darker. So I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but I'm using Lemonade Shop yarns. And so that's the variegated that I'm on right now.
I think I talked over when you said which yarn it was.
Okay, this is Lemonade Shop.
Okay.
The Lemonade Shop. I wonder if I have a band in here.
We're gonna have to start keeping our bands now that we're doing a podcast.
So she is the Lemonade Shop, and they're hand dyed in Castle Rock, Colorado, says on the back of the tag. And so it goes from the darkest here. So this is why, see, it looked like it was a little lighter, so it's hard to tell which one is more.
I see what you're saying.
So this is the first color. This is the second color.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go into this pink that has a little bit of rainbow in it.
So pretty.
And then it fades into a white that has speckles of rainbow.
Yeah.
And then the last color, oh, I got that backwards. So this is the white with the speckles.
So you have 5 yarns in there.
Yep. So I have 5 yarns, so there's the speckles, and then it's going to end with this one. So 5 yarns.
That's 5 or 6?
It's 5.
Okay.
So 5 yarns all faded together. And the way that the pattern is knit, I'm actually laughing because it has very minimal lace. It's not even that difficult. It has I don't know if you can see this, but it's got a garter section and then a lace section. My brain does not like lace. No matter what I do, I can't stop messing up the lace pattern, and I keep having to tear back, which is why I've been using a lot of lifelines. But the piece is knit, it's knit in 2 pieces. So you start one side and it tapers off into a chevron, and then you, on a separate needle, you do the whole thing over again the exact same way, and then you seam those 2 pieces together to make one big shawl that fades from the corners in. And it's a square shawl, so, or not square but rectangular.
Okay.
So even though it has the chevrons, it's still rectangular. And if I could find a picture of the pattern, I'll throw it up. But that's my lace pattern that I've been working on. But I have to be careful when I knit that, because I can't be distracted whatsoever when I'm knitting that because of the lace.
Yeah.
But that's the one that I've been like most excited about and knitting on. It's fingering weight. So it's taking a little bit of time, but it's fun. It's a fun knit.
When you're done. I just remember the name of this yarn.
Oh yeah.
It's Another Crafty Girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then this part here is called Gamut, I think. It's super pretty.
It is pretty.
So that's that. So I'll show you my lace shawl that I'm working on with also, this just stays at home. I make bags, but surprisingly, I have very few for my own project. I put them in the shop. Sometimes I keep them, and sometimes my son wants them. So where is, okay. So mine is called, excuse me, my throat got dry. Mine is called Bambara, Bambara. Wait, I did write it down. Bambara Wrap by Amba, Ambah is her first name, O'Brien. And it is also, I like different kinds of, I like fun, different shapes. One of my tags in my Ravelry favorites is shape, because that tells me it's not just a triangle, and it'll be, I like a crescent or something. So this one is kind of like like this diagonal rectangle thing.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah. So you knit it. I wonder if I could find it real quick. You knit it on like it on an angle, right?
Okay.
Like there's every right row has a make one at the beginning and a knit 2 together at the end, so that you get this angle. But then at the end you have here. I don't know if this will show really well.
Oh.
Yeah. So you end up with this really pretty, it's kind of rectangular, but on an angle. And so I have no idea what these yarns are. I just grabbed 4 from my stash that work well together. So they're probably all different dyers. So this is very lacy. There's a lot of lace. It's very,
yeah, I'm actually looking at that, and I'm over here like struggling with my tiny lace pattern, and you've got this beautiful multi-lace pattern.
No, it's very repetitive. Like I have to pay attention as well. I've messed up a few things and then had to start over, but it's I'm just looking to see if I can find my 4th color, because there's 4 of them. So this one, anyway, this one's done. It goes darker and then it goes lighter. So then I have this really beautiful, this one might be from Cherie, actually. It's like orange. It's really
That's
pretty.
gorgeous.
Yeah, that's the middle. This is my accents. This is yellow.
That's really pretty too.
And I have one that is, I think might be, oh, here, I found it. I think this might be Miss Babs when we went, one year when we went to Maryland or Rhinebeck. I think it might have been a spring one. It might have been a Maryland color for Miss Babs. I think. I'm not sure. But it's
That's really pretty.
so that'll be the third. So yeah, I had I have so much yarn. I had like I think I had like 5 different combinations that I could have worked with and what to do. So it's I think we often make ourselves wrong for having a lot of yarn and stash, but when you find those, when you use them up, especially when you find like a single thing, right? You and I like to do projects, so we like to have a lot of yarn of the same. But then it's fun to just buy that one ball of sock yarn that you really love, but then you don't know what, like, I don't always want to make socks. I want to do other stuff. I'm always searching for projects to make with that one ball of
Skein,
sock,
yeah.
one skein of sock yarn that you love. Actually, I'm working on a design for a hat for self-striping yarn for that. I know the sock head hat lends itself really well to that, but I had another idea in my head, so I'll show that later on when it's done. But I'm working on a hat for self-striping yarn because yeah, I don't always want to do socks. Sometimes I want that yarn.
And I'm starting to get burned out on socks too, a little bit.
And one skein is not enough to make a scarf, right?
Right.
So for me, anyway, it's not long enough. I need to bundle up. It's cold, so it's starting to get really cold here. So anyway, what else are you working on?
I am working on. So I had to cast down a cardigan, and what I was going to say about the socks too is it was the Grocery Girls. One of the Grocery Girls knits podcasters mentioned that she doesn't like knitting socks because for all the stitches, sorry about that, for all the stitches that you make, you could have finished a sweater for how many stitches it takes to knit a sock. And I was like, you know what? That's right. Like, all those tiny little stitches, if you put it up against a sweater and knit like the same amount of stitches, you would have like a sweater. So the sweater that I'm working on right now, I'm using Malabrigo in the colorway Wales Road.
Rios, is that worsted or both?
It's worsted.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pure merino superwash, 210 yards, 100 grams. So made in Peru, Malabrigo. I love Malabrigo.
It's amazing how much faster the worsted knits up. I mean, I know it's obvious, but when like my big cardigan, I knit in fingering, and then when I start knitting with worsted, it's like, holy crap, this is knitting up so fast.
Yeah, I wish I had a skein, but I caked them all up. But it's got like different shades of purples in here, which is kind of hard to see because of my lighting. But it reminded me of just magic, like nighttime magic. So I'm calling this my magic hoodie. And the pattern is sugar coated, and I can't pronounce. It's like her name is something foreign Atmos, but I'll have to link it.
You can look it up now.
So it's sugar coated, and it has a hood, and you can't really tell what's going on here, but this is
so pretty, Vanessa.
This is the start of my hood, and what I really like about it is it has a slip stitch edge, so the edge is really neat around the hood.
Yeah.
And it's knit top down seamless raglan, and it is just an overcoat, a hooded long overcoat with pockets, and it's everything that this sweater is but amped up, and I'm super excited about it.
You're making me want to make it.
Oh, I want to make it in another color. Like it uses let me see, how many yards did I buy? I bought 10 skeins, so it's going to use a significant amount of yardage, but I love big sweaters, so it's going to be like just magical, which is why I'm calling it my magical hoodie.
what, so sugar coated, do you remember, is it like hyphenated? Is it one word? Is it,
No, it's one word.
okay. I'm just looking it up.
Hmm.
Oh, Anna Maria Otvos or something?
Yeah, Anna Maria Otbos or Otbos.
Oh, it's gonna be so awesome.
Hmm.
That yarn that you chose. It's beautiful.
Does it have a picture that you can show?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. I'm just gonna show the one that kind of
There you go. Full hooded sweater. I'm
sweater.
so excited. I will say that the hood has it's easy. There's nothing hard about it. I'm having no problem with the hood, but it uses kind of like a similar almost like a magic loop method.
Yeah.
And I hate magic loop more than anything in the world. I mean, I don't hate it because I will magic loop my sleeves. So I magic loop my sleeves all the time, but I don't like the technique because you have to keep fiddling with the needles and rearranging them.
Yeah.
So it's taking me longer to knit this hood than it really should, which is my fault, but it's because I'm getting so like with it from fiddling with the needles. But I'm just waiting to finish the top of it so I can move into the neck and start knitting downwards. So
I love how this joins to the sweater. Like you don't have to seam it, right?
no, this whole sweater is seamless.
That's amazing.
Hmm.
I love some seamless knitting.
Yeah, because my Mazzy cardigan is still needing to be seamed. So,
It still hasn't been sewn.
so what else are you working on?
Um, I am working on. Oh, this is really cool. I think I'm just gonna keep it to 3 for today because we're going. We can.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna show you. This is very messy. Oh gosh, I have so many balls on this project. So one of my coworkers saw my sweater, my cardigan, and he said, um, anyway, I'll spare you the whole conversation. But basically, he asked me to knit him a Mexican wrestler hood. And I thought, well, there must be a pattern for that. And I ended up finding 2 patterns. One of them I had to go to the library and get the book for. So he's paying me for this. This is my first commission piece. I'm very excited about it because it lets me be very, very creative. But there's a lot of intarsia, and I use I'm using these 2 patterns that I found, putting them together to make this, because again, I live where it snows and it's very cold. So he wants this Mexican wrestling hood, like a balaclava basically, to, shovel the snow and stuff like that. So he showed me a picture of what he wanted. I designed it based on the stitch count and stuff of one of the patterns. I created my own design. So I'm kind of halfway through. It's knit flat. I wanted to do it in the round, but then I realized you can't do intarsia in the round. Not with all of the back and forth with this. I have like so many. I don't know if you can see all of the yarns I've got, but I basically have 7 different balls of yarn.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I mean, if it was just a flat piece, I could just like carry the yarn through. But because I have a mouth hole and then I have eye holes and all of these design, I had to split the yarn up because you have
Okay.
to like based off here and then so it kind of looks like I'm actually at the eye part, and then I'm kind of excited about it. I find it really cool, and I'm kind of impressed with myself for doing this. And this is my design. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can. That's really good. I
Yeah.
like it.
And then at the back on each edge, there's 4 stitches on each side that's green. So that sort of mask part, the design is in green. And in the back, these masks, what they do, they have an opening and they close them with like a lace or whatever. So the green part, it's not going to be open. I'm still going to seam it down and have it closed, but we'll have the illusion of it by having this green strip in the back And then I was thinking of using like a black yarn or something to lace it up and just have it sitting in the back. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. So far, I'm pretty pleased with it. I was kind of scared that it wouldn't work out, but
It looks like it's working out really well.
yeah, the only thing I'm not happy with is the these balls keep falling. I really should take a bag for that. The mouth gap, I'm not super happy with because right here there's a very like loose. I don't know if you can see.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a
Yeah, I can see it
right here, and this kind of flips out. It's not sitting well, but you're supposed to, according to the pattern, you're supposed to crochet an edge around the opening.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that that fixes it. Otherwise, I might have to just like take a piece of yarn and kind of sew around it or something. But hopefully the crochet edge will fix this up and make it nicer. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with like the size of the mouth based on the pattern. The thing that I'm doing, combining the two patterns, is the pattern from the book that I'm mostly basing this off. She just has this one slit for both eyes. And the other pattern I found that I bought on Ravelry has two separate holes, and that's what I want to do. My design goes up this way, so I didn't want to do that one big gap for the eyes. So that's where I'm gonna. I've found off, basted off, bind off. Anyway, whatever.
Bound off, I say.
Yeah, my eye holes are here, so my next rows will be around. See, this is why I have all of these balls of yarn, because I have to break the design, right? And go back and forth here and back and forth here in the middle of the nose. So this also takes a lot of concentration for me anyway. I have to, I can watch TV while I'm doing it, but this is an at-home project. So yeah, I think that's the last work in progress I'm going to talk about today.
Yep, I'm with you too. Want to talk about where you're spinning?
Yeah, so the other thing that I'm doing, and this is kind of an off and on. So I had an accident a few weeks ago. I tumbled down the stairs, ended up on antibiotics for a few weeks because I have this huge hematoma below my knee on my left leg. And they were concerned that I had an infection in there, and it's really, really cramped my style. It's affecting a lot of things, even the spinning. It stresses the leg there. So I did a little bit the other day, but my leg didn't like it. Can't go to the gym really, because even if I'm doing upper body stuff, it puts pressure on my leg.
Yeah.
But having said that, we already talked about her, love Hobbledehoy. And so I have these, again, I think this is probably from Maryland. So I live in Canada. When I buy stuff from the States, the exchange rate is brutal, and then the shipping. So if I can buy stuff like on site, it's way better. So I have these bumps. They're called.
Are those for Jemmy Bats?
Yeah, Jemmy Bats. Hand-dyed rainbow merino wool with silver angelica sparkle. Let me see if I can get the card out.
I have some for Jemmy Bats too. I love them.
Okay. So this is 4 ounces. I had 2, and I've already spun a whole 4 ounces. And so when I spun the other day just to test out my leg, I was finishing up that. I just had a little bit left. So when I spin next, I will start the second ply. I'm really excited about it. The colors are so beautiful.
Oh, I love the Jemmy Bats. They are really pretty. Let me read down here. I am spinning. I got into a whole, Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. So I got into a whole Halloween kick, and I think this is Witch Please by I said at Knitty in Color. By Knitty in Color, and it's these purples and oranges and greens, and it's very Halloweeny. So
fiber?
She dyes fiber, yep.
Okay.
So this is a merino wool braid that I got from her, probably at Maryland also. So that's what I'm spinning, and I use a sidekick wheel. I have a matchless, but I don't like it as much as my sidekick because it's not portable. So I don't have like a designated spinning area in my house where I have like a chair set up where I could just use the matchless. So with the Sidekick, I can move it into the living room, or I can move it into another room and spin just like wherever I'm at. So that's my favorite wheel right now. What do you spin on?
I have one wheel. What's it called? I can't remember. Magicraft Susie, I think.
Okay.
It's a collapsible. I also don't have a lot of space right now. It just sits in my living room in the middle of space. But sometimes I'll like fold it down and put it in my bedroom. But even then, it's just like in the way all the time. So I just leave it out in the living room, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the only one. I bought this wheel. God, I've had it for probably 5 years, 6 years, and I had bought it secondhand from somebody in British Columbia, and it got shipped. So
Well, that's awesome that it's lasted you this long.
yeah, I really love this wheel so much. All right, what else were we gonna? Oh, I wanted to show you something. Like, you know what? Let's not talk about our future stuff because I don't even know how long we've been recording, but
Yeah, I'm good with that. We should
yeah.
talk about
I wanted to show you. So my son learned he learns crafts at school. He's 8. So they do a lot of like hand stuff. They've been working with beeswax since kindergarten, and they learn knitting, and I think at some point they might actually learn weaving. And I'm like not very good for teaching stuff like that. Like I don't know how to teach him to knit. He wants to learn spinning. I was telling you this. He told me yesterday he wants us to buy fiber. I'm like, yeah, I've got enough. But he wants he wants fiber. He wants to spin yarn with his hands, with his fingers. I've probably shown him before how you can do it with your fingers, but I really want to show him on the spindle. So anyway, I had bought him this yarn once we went to Michael's
oh my goodness.
store. Okay, yeah, this is hilarious. So, and he was like, "Mommy, I want some yarn." And I said, "Well, we have some. It's been in the trunk of my car, but we did buy some once." So it's this loops thread stuff, right? And it's chunky or super bulky. It's called chunky, but it's super bulky yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And so I brought them from the car yesterday. He took the labels off. So cute. And he made new labels. So it says Seth's wool on it. So he made the labels and then taped them to the yarn.
Oh, that's super cute.
Right? It says Seth's wool, and there's a picture of him knitting. And then so there's all of these. I just have to make sure the light in my phone kind of went weird.
You can see it fine.
So it says I'm knitting.
I love his spelling.
Right? It says yay and
fluffy wool. That's so cute.
Yay. So he's identified it as his own yarn. Now it gets even better. So he's got these pictures. It says perfect. Now this one, again, it says Seth's wool. And it says perfect, yay, yay. Let me see. He's got pictures on here of somebody knitting, probably himself. And then I think it's the other one. He had pictures of like somebody shearing the sheep.
Oh, wow.
Here. There's sheep there.
Oh, wow. That's so cute.
And he's got a cat in there somewhere. And then, so here this morning he added this. He put the Loops logo.
Oh my goodness. So funny.
So funny.
That's the cutest.
And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was my bags. So
yes,
I have a business called The Knotted Bag. I'm on Etsy, and that's my Instagram account. And I used to make like 4 different sizes of bags, and now I really limit it to 2, unless somebody wanted to order one special. I have some holiday/Christmas fabrics in the store right now, but this is my regular size bag, and you put the large handle in the little handle, and this is perfect for that on the go knitting because you can just have it sitting on your arm and you knit right out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have more for other stuff than I do for my actual knitting, because I have one for Seth's allergy stuff, his EpiPen, things like that when we're on the go. I throw everything in there. I'll throw the knitting, my keys, my phone, like all of that stuff. It was perfect when he was more little and we went to the park.
Mm-hmm.
One of these, because then I could just knit while he was playing. I have one that I use at the gym too. So I put my water bottle, my phone, my keys, all of my stuff, my like workout gloves, and then I just carry it around instead of having like 5 different things that I have to pick up all the time. And then when I go on the bike, I just put it on the handle. So regular size can easily put even a shawl. Like it just depends on where you're at with it. But
Yeah.
it's like socks and smaller projects. And then the medium size is what I call the shawl size. Isn't this cute? This is like gingerbread.
Yeah. Oh, it is cute. It sparkles too.
Yeah, it's got sparkly fabric. So anyway, this is a shawl size, which is, I wouldn't necessarily knit with this on my arm because it's bigger, but this is perfect for those bigger projects.
Mm-hmm.
I've even done sweaters in this. So anyway, oh, also I have spinning bags. So years and years and years ago, I was looking for bags for spinning and I couldn't find any. So I brought my fiber to the fabric store and tested at different fabrics and decided that I like the satin the best because it doesn't snag the fiber like cotton does.
Mm-hmm.
So these are a lot more work. I don't have a lot of them because they're more work. I actually, I don't just cut the satin. I back it up with something, and it's a lot of work. And it's difficult to sew satin to cotton. Like they're two completely different fabrics, and satin's so slippery. So it's not, yeah, not as fast. It's a lot more work. So anyway, I have some of these. I only have 3 in the shop right now, and they're the Alexander Henry kind of gooey. I like this one.
Oh, I like that one with the witches.
Yeah, because I think it's fun for our fibers, our spinning projects to have, especially somebody who spindle spins, to have
Mm-hmm.
stuff in a bag. And I made a medium-sized one as well. So yeah,
I love them.
that's my shop. Do you want to talk about anything else before we?
We should talk about how, well, I don't have anything else to talk about. Well, we should talk about how if you like our channel, you should subscribe to our channel, keep us going, and we'll bring you more. And also we have planned a giveaway. So if we get enough followers, we'll do a giveaway in the future.
Yeah.
So if you like our channel, please subscribe and leave a comment down below.
Yeah.
And we will look towards doing a giveaway once we get enough followers.
Yeah, so we were thinking once we get to 100, we'll do a giveaway. But if you follow, if you subscribe, you please leave a comment underneath so that because otherwise we can't see who the names are, or if we can, let me know. We were looking into it. I haven't figured that out yet. So if you want to be eligible for the giveaway for the first 100, then make a comment. And also click on the little bell if you want to be notified when there's another video. We're going to try to do this weekly, right? Weekly or bi-weekly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm good to record on Sundays, so we should be fine.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I think that's it. We're going to start a Ravelry group. So we'll call it Knitty Knotty, and we'll just wing it. We'll just have fun.
All right.
Okay.
So that's it?
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Well, it was lovely seeing your beautiful face. All right. Well, I'll talk to you next time.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye, guys.